So what we'll be doing today is going over the review sheet and answering any questions that you might have. Now, for those of you for the virtual day, if you notice the assignment was out of 1 point, either you got the point, so you got credit, or you got a 0, which means you didn't. Okay? So if you go back and check it, if you got a 1, that means you were marked present. If you got a 0, that means you were marked absent. And again, just to clear up any questions, you had to have the 4 problems done showing work. Okay?
See, I had it done and then my Wi-Fi went out, so
Okay.
I'll have to break it.
So really, I was checking the work to make sure you did it, not so much the answer, because again, you have the answers in the back of this sheet. So looking at this here, for problems 1 through 4, are there any one of these 4 that y'all want to look at? Or the one that we want to see? Number 4. Name plane B in 2 ways. So if we look at this figure here, plane B, try it again, go away, is this plane here. And to be able to name it, we need 3 points that are on the plane. Well, the only 3 points are A, Z, and P. So we can say plane A, Z, P, or plane P, Z, A, or any combination of those 3 letters. Number 4. And we want to write plane first. I'm not going to necessarily be too big of a stickler on it, but we do need to put plane in front of it to be able to signify what we're talking about.
Oh, I see.
So, well, any combination of those 3. So we could say AZP, APZ, PZA, PAZ, ZAP, or ZPA. So there's 6 different ones that it could be. I just picked 2 out of the 6. So the ones on the back could be 2 of the others.
3 and 4 is mixed up at the back.
3 and 4 is mixed up on the back.
I see what you like.
Mm-hmm. Any others on 1 through 3 that y'all want to see worked or done? So we good with 1 and 2? So number 1 is just naming 3 points, so we could say AZP. Name 2 lines. Again, remember whenever we name a line, we need the line symbol. Name line Q in 2 other ways. Well, questions on 5, 6, or 7. Questions on 5, 6, or 7. Because number 5, we could say OP or PO, and we would have the arrow markers. Name the ray in 2 ways. I think I said name ray AB. AB in 2 ways. So we can't use BA, because if I say BA, well, AB starts here and goes in this direction. BA would be from here to, well, it's not even, as it stops at A. Now, for any of the answers, A has to be the first point, because if they're going to be the same ray, they have to have the same endpoint. So we can say A, C, AD, and if we put AB, I'm going to count it wrong, because I believe I didn't change this completely, but it says name ray AB in 2 other ways. Rewriting down the same ray is not naming it in another way. So if it tells you already name AB, ray AB in 2 other ways, you need 2 other ways. Just writing it back down does not count. Number 7. EZ or ZE. So looking at number 8, 9, or 10. So collinear, what do we have right here in the middle? Line. So co-line, so they're on the same line. So we need 3 points that are on the same line. So we could say B, JBK. Now we can't use line H's points because, well, point A is the only point on there, and the point where it intersects the plane is not listed. Any other questions on 8? Any questions on 9 or 10? So 9 is 3 coplanar points. J, C, K, B. Because those are the 4 main points that have been labeled on the plane. And one point that is not coplanar to the points in question 9 would be. Okay. Any questions on this here so far? Questions on 11 or 12? So name 2 pairs of opposite rays. Well, all the rays are going to start with point A. So we could say A what? AM. And its opposite ray would be A. Yeah, this would be a pair. AP and AQ. What is the signifying feature for 2 rays to be opposite? They make what? A straight line. Because if the 2 rays make a straight line, then they are opposite rays. Questions on 12? Well, to find that length, we just subtract. So the length of AB is 11. Because AB plus BC equals AC. So X plus 13 equals 24. Or 24 minus 13 tells us that our missing length is 11. Questions on this here? Questions on 13? Questions on 14? Okay, so what do we know about the line segment? The length, find the length of JK. So we're wanting to find this length here. Given J is a segment bisector, so it does what? It cuts it in half. So it means our 2 segments are going to be congruent to each other. Now to find the length, I do need to find the value of X. Well, since I know that 2X plus 7 is equal to 4X plus 3, I can set them equal to each other and solve for the value of X. So what can we do first? So we can't quite combine like terms because of the equal sign in the middle is splitting them up. So those 2 would cancel out and we get 2X is equal to 4X minus 4. Subtract the 4X from both sides so that we get the variables on the same side. 4X minus 4X would be 0, leaving us negative 4 on the right-hand side. 2X minus 4X is negative. Divide both sides by negative 2 so we can officially get X by itself. The negative divided by negative would give us a positive. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So X is equal to 2. Now we're not done yet because, again, we need to find this length. So we're going to come back up here and take 4X plus 3 and plug 2 back in. So we have 4 times 2 plus 3. 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 plus 3 is, so JK would be 11. So whenever you're doing these here, make sure you read through to know exactly what we're looking for. Questions on this here? Are you ready for the next one? Questions on 15. Find the length of DG given line K is a segment bisector. Well, a segment bisector does what? cuts it in half. So it means our two sections are the same. So it means that our x plus 15 is equal to what? Now we need to solve for the value of x. Because when we look at this here, so do we have numbers on both sides of the equation? Well, I have 15 on one side. Do I have just a number on the other? No. 15 is the only number that we're adding in, yes? Do I have variables on both sides? Okay, let's get those together first. Because x minus x would be, negative 15 is equal to 5x. Because really, we want to get the variables together and the numbers together. Since 15 was the only number in the equation that didn't have a variable attached to it, and it's already by itself, we'll leave it alone. We'll go on and just subtract x from both sides. Then what can we do? Divide both sides by 5. 5x divided by 5 is going to be x. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So it wouldn't have been wrong to subtract 15 from both sides, but then we would have to subtract 6x going the other way. Now we do need to plug it back in. So we can take x plus 15. So 3 plus 15 is. So the length of DG is. Because this time, DG is the entire length. Well, from D to M is 18, M to G is 18. So we have to add them together to see that the entire length is 36. So again, we do need to be paying attention to what it's asking for. Any questions on this here? Find the midpoint of segment AB. Well, this is our x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Is there one of 16, 17, or 18? Is there one of these that we want to look at? 16? So if I want to find the midpoint, well, we add the x values together and divide by 2. So what are the x values? Negative 3 and 3, because this is our xy, this is our x and y. Now for the y values, we're going to add them together and divide by 2, which would be 4 plus 8. For these here, if you're not feeling comfortable with them, at least set them up. At least set them up, because I will give you points for setting them up correctly. Because if you feel very comfortable with them and want to type it all into the calculator, that's fine, because you can go negative 3 plus 3 divided by 2, hit enter and get your answer. 4 plus 8 divided by 2 and get your answer. But it might be helpful to just go on and write it out. That way we can see it. Well, what is negative 3 plus 3? 0 divided by 2 is 0. So for this here, the midpoint's x value is 0. 4 plus 8 is, and 12 divided by 2 is. So the midpoint for this here is 0, 6. Any other questions on this here? Do we want to see problem 17 or 18? Do you feel comfortable with midpoint? Okay. Questions on 19, 20, or 21? 20. Find the other endpoint given one endpoint and midpoint M for line segment CD. Now again, it kind of told us that point M is the midpoint. So it gave us an endpoint and a midpoint. So do we know what the other endpoint is? No. Because on the last set of 3, where we were finding the midpoint, we put the two endpoint x values in, divided by 2. We put the two y value endpoints in and divided by 2. Well, this time they only told us one of the x values endpoints is 2, and they told us the x value of the midpoint is 3. So if we were solving this here, we would multiply both sides by 2, because these would cancel out, leaving us with negative 2 plus x is equal to 6. Now we still need to find the value of x, so we can add 2 to both sides, telling us x is equal to 8. So we're halfway done. So the other endpoint, x coordinate is 8. Now they told us the y coordinate of one of the endpoints was 7, but we don't know the other one, so we'll just call it y. But we are told that its midpoint is 6. The y value of the midpoint is 6. And then we're going to multiply both sides by 2, because these will cancel, leaving us with 7 plus y is equal to 12. Minus 7 from both sides to get the variable by itself, because these would cancel. So the other endpoint is the point 8, 5. Any other questions on this here? Do we have any other questions on 19 or 21? We feel good with these here? Questions on 22 through 24. So here, for 22, we'll just use the distance formula. So we subtract our x values in one of the parentheses and subtract the y's in the other. So in 22, what are our two x values? So we can say 7 minus 20. Our y values are going to be negative 19 minus 4. Yes. Because 7 minus 20 is going to give us negative 13. And then I square it and I'll get 169. 20 minus 7 will give us positive 13, and positive 13 squared is still 169. Whenever you square these numbers, no matter what they are, they will always come out positive. Because a negative times a negative is a positive times a positive is a positive. So whenever you square it, if you don't have the parentheses around it in the calculator, and it is a negative number, it'll come out negative because it needs those parentheses. But really at this point here, you could type this entire thing into the calculator, and it would give you the answer. Because as I just said, this would be negative 13 squared plus, this here would be negative 23 squared. 169 plus, it's going to be over 400, 529. Square root 8, carry the 1. 698, and I think it stays there. Because I think it should say square root of 698 or 26, and then approximately 26.41. I will take either one. I will take either one. So even with the fraction on 24, all we've got to do is plug it in. Plug it into the calculator, and the calculator will do it for us. Any other questions on 22, 23, or 24? We ready for the next step? Question? Name the polygon based on the number of sides and determine if the polygon is concave or convex. Which one do we want to look at? Huh? 25? So I normally put a mark to figure out where we're starting because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9, yes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nonagon. Nonagon would be 9 sides. Now would this be convex or concave? Concave, because if we extend any of the side lengths, it will go into the shape. Any other questions on the rest of these, 26 or 27?
Can you use that one packet on the test that tells us?
So you'll have just the review sheet.
Can we write it down?
Possibly, yeah. But it would be good to know them. I mean, most of them are not that bad to remember because triangle is 3, quadrilateral, quad is 4, pentagram, pentagon is 5, 6 is hex, hexagon, 7 is hept, 8 is octagon, 9 is nonagon, 10 is starts with a D. It is a decagon. 11 is UN, decagon. 12 is decagon. And then 13 and more, we'll just say 13 gone. A decade. It's also in the book. In 1.4, I believe. Any other questions on 25, 26, or 27? We good with these here? Okay. There we go. Questions on 28, 29, or 30. Name the angle in 3 ways. Which one? So we could call it what? Angle 1, ABC, CBA, and angle B. Because as long as we have one angle, we can use the vertex. Since they gave us the number inside, we can use it as well. And whenever we use 3 letters, we start on one of the rays. So here would be B, A, or C. Go to the vertex, and then the other side. And then that is it. Any other questions on this here? Questions on 31 or 32? Question on 32? So LMO. LMO is the whole angle, yes? And its measure is what? Well, these 2 angles add together to be the whole thing, yes? So what can I do? I can take 67 and subtract from it. 67 minus 27 is? So our missing angle over here is 40. The measure of LMN is 40 degrees. Questions on this here? You ready for the next ones? Questions on 33. What is angle, what are these 2 angles added together be? 180 is a straight line. Because that's one of the things that we can assume. If it is a straight line, its measure is 180. So if I add these 2 together, they will equal 180. And to find the measure of each individual angle, we just need to find the value of x. Combine like terms. 5x plus 3x is? Negative 18 plus 42 is plus? If you have issues with negatives, go on and just type it in. These would cancel, telling us 8x is equal to 156. And then we would and x is equal to 19.5. Any questions on how we found the value of x? Then what can we do? We can take that and plug it back. Again, we can do 5 times 19.5 minus 18. And then we did the same with the other one. 3 times 19.5 plus 42. So AHK is 0.5, and the measure of angle FHA 79.5. I know it's not listed up here, but it is listed on your note sheet or on your review sheet.
It's wrong.
Huh?
The number on the back is completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. If you weren't here, we did change that. Any other questions on this here? Any questions on 34?
I thought that the little like thing between 9.
Oh yeah, no, that's just a stray mark. I'll fix that.
I did it.
So is it copy?
Yes.
I did it like this.
So this is 91. Do we need to see how this has worked?
I just
If there's something like this shows up on the test and you want to make sure is that an actual spot or not, ask. I will tell you, no, this is 91 or it's 9.1. I will verify what that is. Questions on 35? We good with 35? Yes. Okay. Questions on 36 or 37? Name 2 pairs of vertical angles. So what angles would be vertical? 5 and not 6, but 5 and 8. 6 is 1, 6 and. And the only other one that we would have would be 4 and 2. Because of the 1 and 3 split, 9 wouldn't have one because of the fact that that one angle opposite 9 is split into 1 and 3. Name 2 pairs of linear. Name 2 pairs of linear pairs. Well, 5 would be 1, 5 and what? 5 and 7. We can also have 5 and 6. What else? 5 and 3 would not. But we could say 4 and what? 9. We could also say 7 and 8, 8 and 6, 6 and 8. Any of those. 2 angles that make a straight line. Because one of the other pieces for them to be a linear pair is that they have to be adjacent. They have to share a common vertex and a common side with no common interior points. Any other questions on 36 or 37? We good with these 2 here? Questions on 38 or 39? Supplement is 180, complement is, so if 2 angles are supplementary angles, they add together to be 180. If two angles are complementary angles or complement each other, they add up to be 90. So if I wanted to find the measure of angle 3, I would do what? Take 180 and subtract 41 and see that the measure of angle 3 is 139. 6 and 4 are complements. Well, I can take 90 and subtract 26 and see that this here is the measure of angle 4 is 64 degrees. Questions on this here? Are you ready for the next one? Use the figure in and line or ray QS is an angle bisector. So we're using this figure and the fact that QS is an angle bisector. Angle bisector does what? Cuts it in half. So PQR is the whole angle, yes? So we can divide it by 2. Because these would both be 61. So PQS is 61. SQR is also 61. Because we got that from taking 122 and dividing it by 2. Any questions on this here? Question on number 41 or 42? 42. SQR is 47, yes? So what's PQS? And if we add those two together, we get 94. So PQS and SQR, so we have an angle bisector which cuts the angle in half into two congruent parts, yes? So it means PQS and SQR are going to be the same. So what I could say is that 9x plus 37 is equal to 21x plus 1. And then we can solve for the value of x. So what can we do first? Yeah, we can subtract 37. Is 37 minus 37? That would cancel out, leaving us with x minus 36. Almost. Minus 21x. Plus 21x minus 21x would cancel, leaving us with negative 36 on the right-hand side. Yes. By negative 12. Which tells us x is equal to 3. And last but not least, we have to plug it back in. Well, 9 times 3 is 27, and 27 and 37 is 64. So both of these angles will be 64 degrees. Because if we do 21 times 3 plus 1, 21 times 3 is 63. And 63 plus 1 is, in fact, 64. So what is PQS? PQ, because PQR, PQS is 64, SQR 64, and the whole angle is 128. Yeah. So just make sure, especially be reading what the letters are so that you don't get those flipped like we just did there. Any other questions on this here? Questions on 43, 44, or 45? We can look at 45. So O, X, Q. And for any of these here, we can go on and just count the markers. So this starts at an even one, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 degrees. Huh? So there's really three main types. They are acute, right, and obtuse. So this here would be because it's greater than 90 and less than 180. Acute angles are less than 90, right angles are exactly 90, and obtuse angles are between 90 and 180. Questions on this here? Questions on 46 or 47? 46, plot the points in the coordinate plane. So A is at 1, 2. So 1, 2. Well, if you notice here, we have 1 space 4, 1 space 8. So each one's going by 2. Next one is at 1, 4. And the last one is at 6, 2. So we get this triangle here. Yep, it's going by a scale of 2. Then the other one, D, is at negative 3, 4, negative 3, 6, and negative 8, 4. Find the area of each triangle. Base and height. Base and height. Well, we know each one of these is going to be 2 units because it goes up 1. Yes? Each one of them is a distance of 2. Now, when we go across the other side, well, it goes 1, 2.5. So 2, 4, 5. Here, 2, 4.5 is 5. So the area for each one of these triangles is going to be 1/2 of 2 times 5. On what? So where is this point at? It's at what? Negative 3, 4. So we're at negative 3 up 4. Each one of these is a distance of. So I've got 2 of them, but this here is in the exact middle between 2 and 4. So it is a distance of 1. Because here I'm at negative 3. Negative 3 to 4 is 1. 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8. Now to find the area, we just need to multiply all this together. We could do it in a calculator, or if we did it by hand, 1/2 times 2 is, well, we would have 5 times 1, and 5 times 1 is 5. So which triangle's area is 5? Both. Both of them would have an area of 5 because they have the exact same dimensions. Any other questions on this one here? Any questions on 47? Okay. Well, we'd plot the points. Negative 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1. Negative 1, negative 4. distance formula. So I can just start off with A to B, -4 minus 1 squared plus -1 minus 4 squared. And we could type this into the calculator to get our answer. And I believe that the calculator will tell us that this is 5 square root of 2.
So how do we do it?
1, 4, 4, 1. Well, that's not all the sides. This perimeter is just adding all the side lengths together. So then we can go from B to C, which would be 1 minus 4 squared plus 4 minus 1 squared. I type it in just like it is. Square root, parentheses, 1 minus 4, close parentheses, squared.
Will it give you a different answer if you don't square root? Then you
Yes, because then you'll have to take that answer and then square root it. Because that would be 3 squared, which is 9, and 3 squared, which is 9, 9 and 9 is 18. And I believe for those that typed it in, you got 3 square root of 2. Yes? Then we would just keep going around. So the next one would be from C to D, 4 minus 1, -1, so that'd be 4 plus 1, squared, plus 1 minus -4, which is the same as 1 plus 4, which here would give us 5 square root of 2. And if we do the last one, D to A, it would be the same. So to figure it out, we would do 5 square root of 2 plus 3 square root of 2 plus 5 square root of 2 plus 3 square root of 2, which gives us 16 square root of 2. So really we just used the distance formula to find the length of each side and went from there. Now most of this here is just plugging in the numbers into the distance formula and figuring it out. So you're going to hang on to the review sheet. Yep. So any other questions, guys, before you head out? Are there any other questions on any of the other problems on the review sheet? Okay. So y'all can go on and go.